My name's Kieran Moolchan, and I am, well, for work, I'm a project manager, but otherwise, I'm a singer, athlete, or at least former athlete. I still think of myself as an athlete. So I have bipolar type 2, which is longer periods of depression with shorter periods of elevated mood. And if I'm lucky, in between those things, some stability and kind of mid-level, everything feels normal time. I received my bipolar 2 diagnosis when I was 25, after going through about 2 or 3 years of not knowing exactly what was going on, and probably a lot of time before that, but the diagnosis period was a little extended. Kind of starting to feel that I was getting really depressed and that my moods were changing started when I was in mid-university, and then my dad passed away while I was in university, and I dropped out of school, and then I started a new program at Red River, but throughout all of that, my moods were just going all over the place, and things got really intense, when I was 24, 25, which led to a suicide attempt and hospitalization, and then a long period of therapy and the actual diagnosis to figure out what's going on. When I was trying to figure out what's going on, I'd initially gone to my doctor, and I probably wasn't as forthcoming with him as I could have been, especially with how forthcoming I was with my friends. So we settled on trying to treat my depression, which was not correct, but they were working with what I had kind of given them, and that was how we kind of found out that it was actually bipolar, because antidepressants don't mix very well with having bipolar, so that kind of made my symptoms even more intense. But the process after that point, once we dialed in that it was bipolar type 2, and talking with a psychiatrist, we prescribed medication and did therapy, and that was a real collaborative effort, because there's certain types of medication that I was afraid of taking, and based on the side effects, but they really kind of walked me through that process, and really took into account what I was trying to do and how I wanted to live without having intense medication, so that really helped. I think opening up was stressful for me. I'm a very open person generally, so part of it felt natural, but it's still really stressful to talk to somebody, especially about the real dark stuff that you're feeling, because you don't want to put it on other people, and even for your friends, it doesn't always feel as good to tell them what's going on, because you don't want to make them feel bad, but at the same time, my friends were very willing to listen to me and support me, so that was really helpful. I think the hardest part, which I dodged almost on purpose, was I wrote about what was going on with me in a blog post, a couple of blog posts, and kind of hit the publish button once and would send people links so that I didn't have to walk through the hardest parts again and again, one by one, which kind of made it a lot easier from my perspective. I had some people tell me that it was brave that I posted that publicly, and I was like, I'm not afraid of strangers hearing about this. It's telling the people closest to me that can feel the most stressful. So that was my little cheat on telling people what was going on. I like writing, and I also don't think that at that point in my life I would have been comfortable doing it the other way. Again, even with how close everybody was to me, being able to sit down, write it out, and then press send or press post is a lot easier than one conversation after another conversation. I think if you have something really difficult to get through, you should use the easiest thing or the most comfortable thing that you have to communicate it. So I like to write. I wrote it down You could send an audio message to somebody, you could text them, like FaceTime, like you could drop it during a large group gathering. Whatever breaks the ice about the thing that's happening lets you get into a deeper conversation. And the thing that I think I was most afraid of is that initial reaction. You get so stressed out in your own head about that moment leading up to you saying something, but as soon as you say the first thing, it's really comes out. It's really easy to keep talking. It's just hard to start talking. So whatever makes it easier to start that conversation is the best option. Once you start talking to a professional and you've decided that you would like support, it doesn't have to be a doctor telling you what to do. It can be you deciding what the next part of your life is going to look like, and they are there to help you and walk you through, if you need medication, which one is it going to be, if you need or would like to go through therapy, how can that be applied to your life, and how can you bring your family or your support system, your friends or whoever into that system. And ultimately you build a system. I don't just do what I do now on my own. I have a system of support that I worked with my doctor and my therapist to build. And I think that that's the part that can feel really daunting if it feels like someone's telling me how to live my life, or like the thing that's happening in my body and the chemistry that's messing with how I feel is telling me what to do and it's dictating how I'm going to live. And that's not really all that it has to be. It can be a collaborative effort with the people that are being paid to help, which is great, because it's nice to have someone who's professionally dedicated to your success, which is something that therapists and psychiatrists and psychologists are there to do. My mental health today, I think, is stable, and I can live in a way that I choose. I still get depressed. It's not like I just don't anymore, but I know when it's coming. I can feel what's happening with my body. I can make adjustments to my life, and I can lean into the routines and comfort and people that I've surrounded myself with to deal with how I'm going to feel. I don't take medication now. I did for a long period of time, about 2.5 years. And I was lucky in that I could work to create a structure that allowed me to not have to take that. At the same time, there's nothing wrong with taking medication. Just certain medications have some trade-offs. You want to do one thing, and maybe you'll have to experience something that is not as good. But at the end of the day, just feeling like I am in control of what's going on is something that gives me a lot of peace of mind. When I feel a long depressing episode or depressive episode coming on, it's usually in not being able to get enough sleep, or it feeling like I'm very tired very quickly, and I start to lose kind of patience and motivation in the things that I'm trying to do. So I have trouble making decisions, or finding as much joy as I would find in things that I normally enjoy. So I kind of identify it by those things. I also start to get really intense nightmares usually, so that's a big flag that wrecks my sleep, which then makes me not have good days, which makes me unhappy. So it kind of all snowballs. So when I feel that coming on, I lean into my routines and creating good conditions for sleep, and making sure I'm eating regularly, and making sure that I'm doing everything I can to make sure that the next morning I can kick off the day in a way that lets me do the things that I need to do and have some time to treat myself well. So it very much hinges on my routine, and for me, it starts with sleep. I am fairly self-aware, but I've also practiced that with my therapists and coaches and through training. And even when I wasn't feeling very good, I was very stubborn, and I thought I could deal with it myself. And that wasn't the case. And I think the easiest kind of practice way to do it is to have somebody to bounce it off of and to talk about. I think that my time talking about what was happening to me and how I was feeling and asking my friends how I was doing, or trying to have them suss out how I was feeling, has now rubbed off into my friend group, in that everybody is more comfortable talking about how they feel. They're willing to share with either me or their partners or their friends as well what's going on, and we also ask each other how we're doing more regularly, and we mean it. Like, it's not just like, oh hey, how's it going? Good, fine, cool. It's like, hey, are you okay? Like, have you, like, something, I know that this happened, like, how are you doing? Like, I know that this would be tough, so you can tell me about whatever you felt when this happened. And I think especially among my friends who are guys, they are comfortable telling me those things because I've shared with them. But now that we've done that a couple of times, like, now we all share with each other, and it's a lot more social in how we talk about the things that normally we maybe would have kept bottled up inside. If me now could talk to myself when I was in my darkest times, I would have told myself to talk, not just talk, in my case walk. I would have just walked. I walked past a hospital. I would have told myself to just walk into the hospital. But after that, I would have also told myself that the journey that I was about to go on was going to be a lot less scary than the moment I was in, and that journey was going to be the thing that really made me feel a lot better. So that I should just do that and not stay in the scary place that I was in at the time. Like, everybody will have a very unique series of things that they've gone through, but there's things that are very much the same about my body is doing a thing that I don't understand or I don't like, and my brain is not responding well, and I either am embarrassed to get help, or the thought of getting help is so monumental that I'll just put my head down and I'll like power through it. And then it gets too bad and you can't do anything about it anymore, because we're not invincible as much as we think we are. If you need help, or just think you might need help, you should do it right away. It's the worst case scenario of getting help is that you feel better.